All right. Welcome in, comrades. So great to see you here. You're just in time for the Kim Jong un speech I'm about to read, everybody. Maybe. Okay, it'll be hard. It might be hard for you to see the text. I can't zoom in on it anymore. So I apologize for that, but this is as much as I can zoom in. So the speech is titled Officials should become communist revolutionaries who are possessed by the party's original ideals and spirit as their mental qualities. The respected comrade Kim Jong un gave the following discourse titled Officials should become communist revolutionaries who are possessed by the party's original ideals and spirit as their mental qualities to Rodong Sinmum, organ of the Central Committee of the Workers' Party of Korea, on October 10th, Juche 113, 2024. Today, when we are marking the vigorous advance to confidently open up a golden age of strengthening the Workers' Party of Korea and an era of achieving the comprehensive rejuvenation of the state, we are greeting the 79th founding anniversary of the WPK, the great guide of the Juche Revolution. The more closely we look back upon the protracted and glorious road of struggle it has followed, the more proud we feel of the greatness of our party that has written the longest ruling history of socialism, together with the Korean Revolution. The Korean people and this country, and the more precious we feel the unprecedented history of its founding and exploits pioneered and achieved by the forerunners in the revolution. Greeting the meaningful anniversary of party founding, I pay the immortal glory and noble tribute to the revolutionaries of the first generation of the WPK, who wonderfully achieved the historic cause of giving birth to the militant general staff of the revolution in their arduous and complicated struggle. I also extend warm greetings to the members of the WPK and all other people across the country who are working with devotion to implement the struggle program of the party, supporting it single heartedly, with absolute trust in it and unshakable belief in the victory of the revolution, even in the face of all manner of trials and difficulties. It is very meaningful that today we are reconfirming the justness of the line of building up the party in the new era, which it is applying and hardening our revolutionary faith and will to remain loyal to its cause while looking back upon what its original features were on the historic day when the cause of its building was achieved, how it was founded, and how its glorious and victorious history started. Next year, we will be greeting the 80th anniversary of party founding. A revolutionary party with the longest ruling history, this is not a simple rhetorical expression. The epochal significance of the day when the birth of the vanguard of the Korean Revolution was declared to the world is more conspicuous not simply because, thanks to this day, our party could set the longest record in the history of the ruling socialist parties. It is all the more so because securely preserving the purity of all the precious assets and traditions created by the pioneering period of the revolution poses itself as an important problem, decisive to the future development as the revolution advances, and because today we are realizing its importance to the utmost extent. The sacred ruling history of the Workers' Party of Korea, spanning nearly 80 years, and the great exploits it has performed in these decades for the country, people, times, and revolution originate in the characteristic and profound ideals and spirit it has adopted at the time of its founding and the steadfast inheritance of them. In the long period since the day of its grand start to this day, it has led the socialist cause victoriously, firmly maintaining its revolutionary character and original features unique in the world without the slightest deviation or discoloring, or enjoying the absolute support and trust of the masses of the people. This is because it has remained faithful to its original ideas, and the spirit of steadily carried them forward from one generation into the next. The factor most decisive of the existence and development of a political party is on what ideals and spirit it was founded, on and how they have been inherited in their pure form. As a problem that is related with a party's historical origin and character and the lineage that ensures its existence from one generation to the next, it is of absolute importance in the building and activities. The original ideals and spirit of the WPK, unprecedented in the history of political parties of the working class, contain a precious iron truth, which was found in the course of pioneering a fresh road of building a revolutionary party, and whose everlasting veracity has been verified on the arduous road of consolidating the organizational and ideological foundations to this end. These great spiritual assets have served as a dynamic force that have enabled the WPK to follow the road resplendent with victory, while preserving its character and bloodline and steadily improving its ruling and guiding abilities as a revolutionary party of the Juche type that struggles, guided solely by its leader's revolutionary ideology, to build a communist society where the people's ideals are fully realized. As it has laid the spiritual foundation solid enough to guarantee its eternal viability already before it was born, the WPK has been able to adorn its entire course of arduous and complicated struggle with victories and successes. But for the spiritual asset bequeathed by the generation of pioneers of the cause of party founding, it would not have been able to found itself as a mass based party of the working people in such a short period of time immediately after liberation, in defiance of different political parties and groupings advocating isms and assertions of all hues. Nor would it have been able to achieve the cause of founding the army and the state and then repulse the armed invasion of the Allied imperialist forces, which was a world startling miracle, thus demonstrating the honor and glory of a newborn Korea. When the other ruling socialist parties were being swept into the vortex of revisionism and dogmatism, resulting in the political upheaval of capitalist revival in a number of countries, it marched forward unflinchingly under the banner of its socialist and communist program. Its profile is shining as a symbol of the Revolutionary Party. Etched in the chronicles of the working class party, building are tragic records of not a few of them. Though having been born in the revolutionary vanguard and championing the demands and interests of the working people, giving up their original fighting programs and the revolutionary spirit of their founder generation, going degenerated in the face of countless challenges and counter revolutionary offenses, and meeting the end of their existence. Pursuing reformism by a party and its building on the pretext of changes in times will inevitably lead to the deviation from the original ideals and the degradation in ideology and spirit, which will in turn weaken its ruling efficiency. Transformation and innovation is a law governed demand in party building and an essential precondition for its political leadership over the revolution and construction. Yet, a revolutionary party should never permit any transformation or reform of the ideals and spirit, that is, the revolutionary ideal, the revolutionary spirit, it adopted at the time of its founding. This is because the ideals and spirit comprehensively represent not only the party's guiding ideology and fighting program and good experience in its founding, but also the principles and ethos it has to adhere to through the course of its building. The true value of a party's original ideals and spirit lies not simply in that they served as powerful engine leading the cause it adopted at its inception, but also in that they offer a sure guarantee for its greater leadership ability and brighter future, with an inexhaustible viability even after its founding. Mindful of the noble sense of responsibility and mission it assumed for the destiny of the country and the people, our party has been consistent in holding fast to and carrying forward its original ideals and spirit, even in the face of manifold, unprecedented, and complicated trials. This has enabled it to write a long ruling history as the one of steadfast development and laudable guidance, the great one of devoted service for the people. No other party in the world is longer standing and better prepared than ours in terms of ruling years, leadership authority, ideology, theory, work methods, and discipline. The absolute dignity and greatness unique to our party precisely represents the ennobling and great qualities of its original ideals and spirit. The inexhaustible viability of our party comes precisely from that of its original ideals and spirit. Our republic has made great leaps forward while pressing on against unheard of difficulties and developed into matchless power which no other forces dare defy. Witnessing its sacred and dignified image, our people are realizing anew the value of great ideals and spirit. When the banner a party raised at an inception is great, and when its succession is great, the party's past, present, and future will be adorned with victory and glory. This is a truth etched in the history of the WPK spanning nearly 80 years. The great iron truth verified by history will remain valid for all eternity. We should maintain the purity of the party's original ideals. Purity fetish champions in chat, please. We should maintain the purity of our party's original ideals and spirit that determine its revolutionary character and mode of existence, and apply them to its building and activities to the letter. This is the way to ensure its eternal development as a dignified, powerful party through all ages. Those who should stand in the vanguard of our party, that is winning victory after victory on the strength of its great original ideals and spirits, are officials most faithful to it. Despite the change of generations along with the advance of revolution, our officials, the backbone of our party, should be communist revolutionaries who are thoroughly equipped with its original ideals and spirit. By doing so, we can implement the 5-point line of party building in the new era and thus improve the profile of militant efficiency of our party in every way possible. Proceeding from this, our party, at the historic watershed of its development, put up the slogan, quote, "Let us open a great golden age of party building in the new era by carrying forward its original ideals and spirit," unquote, and set it as the primary revolutionary task of officials to carry forward on a higher level the ideals, faith, spirit, and temperament cherished by the first generation revolutionaries in accomplishing the cause of party founding. The original ideals and spirit of the party should be adopted by Juche-type communist revolutionaries as the essence of the ideological and mental qualities. Loyalty to the leader, devotion to the revolutionary cause, the spirit of serving the people, high level class consciousness, socialist patriotism, and ennobling moral traits. These constitute the major ideological and spiritual qualities of a communist revolutionary of a Juche type, the perfect incarnations of which were the anti Japanese revolutionary fighters. When they had no government, to provide a rear. These fighters pioneered the revolution barehanded and waged it while eating and sleeping in blizzard-swept wilderness. In doing so, they trusted the great leader Comrade Kim Il-sung and nobody else. In their 20-year-long immortal chronicles of resistance, the sacred history of party founding were written with their beautiful ideals of socialism and communism, steadfast faith in the revolution and indomitable fighting spirit. Having performed imperishable exploits for party founding at the sacred cause of building the country and its armed forces, the revolutionary forerunners remained honest and resolute all their lives, and worked with devotion for the prosperity of the country and the well-being of their fellow people. Many years have passed, but the noble soul cherished by these first-generation revolutionaries has served as an inexhaustible source of sustenance to bring up the people of the later generations into true fighters and communists. To embody and imply the party's original ideals and spirit to the letter possesses itself today as a most pressing, crucial task facing our officials as leading personnel of the revolution. See, what I'm hearing even more while I'm reading this mag is the people who go, but you see, DPRK abandoned communism and socialism. It's right in their constitution. Just read in their constitution how they abandoned communism. Anyway, to continue the speech by the leader of the DPRK, Kim Jong-un, our party is making sustained efforts to build up the country's defensive capabilities to cope with the Allied imperialist forces' moves for aggression and war, and at the same time is conducting gigantic projects for the comprehensive development of socialism. The tasks facing us are challenging, yet we are short of qualified individuals who are equal to such tasks. The first-generation revolutionaries who created the party's original ideals and spirit passed away, and the faithful veteran officials of the second generation, who had been trained under the direct concern and influence, are passing away one after another. In order to ensure that the officials of a new generation fill the forerunners' position and roles with credit, we should make constant efforts to transform cadres along revolutionary lines and adopt radical measures to improve their training.
Let's go, smokes.
Wait till I'm done this speech, damn it. This is the very reason why the party central committee puts the main emphasis
the revolution that feeds the children
on improving personnel
support.
administration, underlining the need for our cadres to live and work like the forerunners who blazed a trail for the cause of party founding. These years, while giving top priority to the work of Central Cadres Training School for the WPK, it has invested a huge sum into developing it into a political school without parallel in the world, the best pedigree farm, quote unquote, for training party cadres. The ruling history of our party spans nearly 8 decades, and its policy of making officials revolutionary, working class dates back more than half a century. Never before have we brought the party's original ideals and spirits to the fore as a banner for transforming cadres along revolutionary lines. Only when we equip our cadres with the far-reaching ideals, steadfast, revolutionary faith, and indomitable spirit that have been etched in the great history of party founding, can we successfully attain the goal of transforming our party's cadres along revolutionary lines and bring about a great turn in the building up of the party. The party's original ideas should be a purpose of life and work of our cadres, and part of their creed, and the party's original spirit and ethos should definitely dominate their thinking and action. Only then will the ranks of our party's cadres become steel strong, with genuine communist revolutionaries, adding inexhaustible dynamism to our cause of building up the party to make steady advance along the road of victory. All our officials work hard. All of our officials should work hard to temper themselves in the flames of transforming cadres along revolutionary lines, fully conscious of the urgent practical requirements and the important mission they have assumed for the times, writing a new, great his chapter of history of the WPK by carrying forward its original ideals and spirit. I already heard the sound go off for it on my end. That officials possess the party's original ideals and spirit as their mental qualities mean that they cherish the first generation revolutionaries' boundless loyalty to the party and the revolution, and their spirit of devoted service to the people as their essential temperament and principle of life, always thinking and acting accordingly. Loyalty to the party, the revolution, and the people, as was displayed by this generation, is the 3-point essential temperament to be possessed by all of our officials who are leading personnel of the revolution and the hardcore of our party. Officials should have a high degree of loyalty to the party and fulfill their responsibility and duty as its core members, supporting its ideology and leadership. Good job, Blatt. Thank you. I appreciate that. They should take the lead, first and foremost, in defending our party's dignity and authority in every possible way. Our party's dignity represents our state's prestige and its source of greatest pride and honor for our people. Our forerunners of the preceding generations, despite the difficulty and complexity of their struggle, were unconditional in safeguarding the party's dignity and authority and defending the revolution. We must never allow their ennobling spirit and merited contributions to remain merely as memories of the past. In the struggle of the present times, too, our officials should regard it as a starting point and fundamental principle of their thinking and activities to thoroughly defend the prestige of the party. They should make it their habit to always try to identify any shortcomings in ensuring the absolute authority of the party in all processes and on all occasions of their work and life, and take steps to prevent any minor defects. They should consider all affairs carefully and organize and carry them out scrupulously while giving top priority to ensuring the authority of the party, rather than attempting to achieve immediately viable successes. Their loyalty to the party is manifested intensively in implementing its lines, policies, and decisions to the letter. The environment and conditions in the early days after the party were founded were worse than those of today, and the cadre's academic attainments or career were not as conspicuous. But their viewpoint of and attitude to the party lines and policies of their political awareness and sensibility were on a remarkably high level, which our officials should attain today. Officials should learn from the spiritual world of the first generation revolutionaries and become staunch fighters who are perfect in implementing the party's policies even in the face of manifold trials and difficulties. At, at present, some officials, unaware of the quintessence of our party's policies, are working subjectively and merely to satisfy their own taste, and claiming that they are implementing the party's policies. They are vulgarizing these policies and even distorting their execution, deviated from the party principle. These are serious mistakes. Whatever they do, officials should have a clear understanding of the party's intention and, on its basis, consistently maintain the methodology of planning their work and finding solutions to the problems, and they should direct the greatest efforts to carrying out the party's decisions perfectly, without any slightest compromise or deviation. They should fully display their party spirit in the struggle of strengthening the political ideological unity of the party and the single-hearted unity of the revolutionary ranks. We should never rest on our laurels or relax as the unity and cohesion of the party and the revolutionary ranks have been firmly maintained up to now, nor forget even for a moment that the enemy within and without are waiting for a chance to undermine the single-hearted unity and resorting to most desperate schemes. With an awareness that they stand on the forefront of defending the unity and cohesion of the party, officials should firmly preserve the political, ideological purity of the revolutionary ranks by launching a principled, merciless struggle against those who have been deteriorated ideologically and degenerated in their class consciousness. They should think and act thoroughly in line with the unified leadership system of the party central committee. Launch a struggle immediately against any trifling negative tendencies and elements such as idolizing individuals, regarding oneself as exceptional, and working in a self-centered way, and stamp them out resolutely. I have already said that our officials should coordinate the public sentiments as carefully as running with an electric bulb on a glass tray. This means that it is quite difficult task to manage the public sentiments and maintain unity, and great effort should be directed to this task with constant care and attention. Officials should thoroughly orient and subordinate all their work to strengthening the single-hearted unity between the party and the masses, and deal with the arising problems in accordance with party and class principles, after correctly distinguishing whether they are favorable or not to cementing the single-hearted unity. Our officials should make devoted efforts with thoroughgoing revolutionary spirit. Our party set it as the development strategy of our own style to develop all sectors of socialist construction, all regions of the country, and all fields of the national economy in a balanced, simultaneous way. In other words, to develop the heavy industry as well as to prioritize developing heavy industry, of course, but also develop medium and light industry at the same time. Is insofar as much as possible given the, economic situation that they face themselves with. So our party set it as the development strategy of our own style to develop all sectors of socialist construction, all regions of the country, and all fields of the national economy in a balanced, simultaneous way, and made such a challenging strategic decision as shouldering the task for a midterm and long-term rural rejuvenation and regional development, while carrying out the gigantic tasks of the 5-year plan set forth at its 8th Congress. It is a clear expression of our party's revolutionary stand to live up at any cost to the responsibility entrusted by the times and the revolution, as well as to the people's trust and expectation. And this requires all of our officials to make unyielding and devoted efforts with renewed revolutionary conviction and fighting spirit. As shown by the life of the many loyal persons who have stoutly supported the party's cause from the early days of its founding up to the present, a fighter who overcomes hardships by means of conviction and optimism, and devotes his all to the sacred cause for the country and the people, can be said to be a genuine revolutionary. A man with no conviction and optimism can neither feel the worth of waging the revolution nor tide over the hardships, easily wavering in the face of difficulties and trials. With clear insight into the present reality that convincingly shows the absolute superiority of socialism of our own style and promises a bright future for the overall rejuvenation of our state, officials should brave all manner of challenges and trials in the revolutionary spirit of self-reliance and fortitude, and carry out the decisions of the Party Congress and the plenary and political bureau meetings of the Party Central Committee. It is the most pressing for them to attain strong sense of responsibility and display infinite devotion in implementing their official duties. Loyalty to the revolution means a keen awareness of responsibility of one's revolutionary duty and indomitable exertion. In the present era, in which the campaign for gigantic creation of unprecedented in the history of our socialist construction is underway, demand hands on hand demands hands-on officials who achieve remarkable results with a high sense of responsibility, bold drive, stubborn fighting spirit, and persistent executive ability. However, our officials have yet to rid themselves of such irresponsible and insincere tendencies as formalism, expediency, and self protectionism. And this has proved to be a hindrance to our advance and development. With a firm view and stand that they assume full responsibility for their work before the party and the state, they should always rack their brains to find ways for better success and more sustainable results and work with devotion to achieve them. It is for the sake of the revolution. They should not argue about the limits of responsibility or consider benefits first with a self centered approach, but instead take the lead in undertaking a task, however challenging it may be. This is the attitude of a genuine revolutionary, the attitude of a master. Officials should do away with the indifferent and self centered practice of staying aloof from any problems that are beyond the bounds of their responsibility, and adopt a proper stance and attitude of considering and approaching every problem from the interests of the party and the state. Our officials should become faithful servants of the people, who embody loyalty to them as one of their inherent qualities. The quintessence of our party's original ideals and spirit is the people first principle. In the first days of our party founding, the Korean Communists inscribed in its sacred red flag their lofty ideals for building a new country whose masters are the people, as well as their faith and will to sacrifice themselves without hesitation for the sake of their fellow people. The nearly 8 decades of our party's struggle to defend the red flag, symbolizing its original ideals and spirit, represent the history of its preserving its nature and original features as a genuine party of the people. If you're wondering what it means by preserving the purity of its convictions, of its ethos, this is it. The purity, the conviction is serving the people. That's the purity they're talking about preserving here. Just to be clear, in case you haven't picked up on that yet, just to make it extremely undoubtedly clear to you all. Which is hence why it says the quintessence of our party's original ideals and spirit is the people first principle. The nearly 8 decades of our party's struggle to defend the red flag, symbolizing its original ideals and spirit, represent the history of preserving its nature and original features as a genuine party of the people. And following this course, our party has administered the great people first politics that is unprecedented in political history of ruling parties. The people first principle is not an abstract slogan, but it is the political creed unique to our party, which permeates all its lines and policies and whose viability our people have experienced through their everyday life. Despite manifold difficulties facing the state, our party initiated and is unfailingly carrying out gigantic projects of lasting significance to translate the people's ideals and dreams into reality. It also ensures that the more difficulties the people experience, the deeper the whole party goes among the masses, sharing weal and woe with them. Such traits can never be displayed or imitated by other ruling socialist parties. People First Principle. This represents our party's original features and its absolute ruling efficiency. Our officials' loyalty to the people should find its expression in wholeheartedly supporting the party central committee, people first politics, and faithfully serving the people. They should, first of all, acquire a proper view of and attitude towards the people. It is self evident that an official with an improper view of the people can neither respect nor serve them. Our party has performed great and undying exploits because since the initial days of its founding, it has regarded it as its inherent mission to believe in the people as in heaven and serve them, and made strenuous efforts to this end, thereby winning their absolute support and trust despite the passage of time and the changes of generations. When a party is alienated or divorced from the people, it would be futile to talk about or think of its lines and policies, struggle, and achievements. Likewise, when officials are separated from the people, it would be pointless to speak about their worth. Officials should never deviate from the view that the people do not exist for the sake of cadres, but the latter exist for the sake of the former. And from the stand and attitude of regarding the people as sacred beings and respecting them as their mentors at any time and under any circumstances. At the historic 8th Congress, our party put special emphasis on holding higher the ideals of the people are God, as well as the single hearted unity and self reliance, and declared them to the whole world. Officials should cherish its real intention deep in their mind, be infinitely courteous and sincere to the people, and remain faithful to the duty as their true servants. More recently, we have brought the residents in the flood hit areas to the capital city and taken warm care of them with sincerity while giving education to their children, and decided to add the construction of advanced public health facilities, facilities for science, education, and cultural activities, and grain management facilities through the Regional Development 20 by 10 policy. All these are the revolutionary measures which clearly testify to our party's faith that the people are its God. Our officials, whatever they do, should consider whether it would infringe upon the demands and interests of the people and whether it would cause any inconvenience to them, and should approach and deal with arising problems from their standpoint and from their viewpoint of providing convenience to them and promoting their well being. They should cherish the boundless trust of the people who call the Workers' Party mother as the greatest confidence in and expectations of them. Regard it as their duty to find out and take charge of new things for them and make positive efforts to find a solution to the problems eagerly awaited by them. It is of particular importance to be prudent in words and deeds in acquiring the traits as befitting an official of the party. As always, officials' moral traits are a serious political issue directly related with the prestige of the party. I stress once again that if officials make a slightest mistake in words or deeds before the people, they will lower the prestige of the party and estrange the masses from it. The revolutionary forerunners, who had laid firm foundations of the party and secured its authority in the earliest days after its founding, performed feats in the work to be praised by all. However, there was no gap between them and their fellow people, and they built up the foundations for establishing a sound climate in the party by dint of their unique people oriented spirit and methods of working with them. Officials should always be courteous, with bright facial expression whenever they approach the masses, be they 10 or 1, and give sincere advice to those who made a mistake and lead them forward. They should be infinitely humble in front of the masses and mix with them unceremoniously, and every of their words and deeds should overflow with the ennobling moral traits and warm human feelings of respecting and caring for them. We should keep intensifying the struggle to root out the abuses of power, bureaucracy, the accumulation of wealth by illicit means. These negative practices are the main targets of struggle, which fundamentally run counter to our party's original ideals and spirit. Officials should refrain from harboring such ideas of demanding uncommon treatment while regarding themselves as exceptional beings and seeking only their own interests by abusing their power, and make it part of their habit to lead the same life with other people. Times have changed a lot since the days of the party founding, but its mode of existence and activity sharing weal and woe with the people and standing in the vanguard of their struggle remains unchanged. If any slightest manifestation is revealed among them of abuses of power, bureaucracy, and accumulation of wealth by illicit means, it will do harm to the party and leave a blot on their political integrity. Bearing this in mind, they should control and temper themselves, working and living modestly, simply, and frugally. In addition, they should not spare comradely advice and help to other officials working with them, so as to ensure that any trifling practices of the abuses of power, bureaucracy, and corruption is not revealed among them. They should also make continuous efforts to awaken and educate their family members and relatives, lest they commit any unsound practices. In order to become communist revolutionaries who are possessed of the party's original ideals and spirit as their mental qualities, our officials should intensify their studies. Studying is the primary process for them to acquire and steadily improve their party, revolutionary, and people-oriented spirit. It is also an important way for the revolutionary transformation of cadres. Fully aware that studying hard is the essential requirement for their training in the party spirit and the revolutionary self-improvement, officials should study voluntarily, diligently, and substantially. Primary attention should be paid to the studies aimed at arming themselves with the party's lines and policies. Our party's revolutionary ideology is the ever victorious banner leading the cause of Juche, providing absolute correct guidelines for ushering in a golden age in building up the party and achieving national prosperity in the new era. Officials should regard it as a vital task to arm themselves with the party's founding and policies, keeping in mind that without a correct understanding of them, they can neither be faithful to the important responsibility and duties entrusted to them by the party, nor breathe the same air as, and keep step with, and advance of the times. They should firmly equip themselves with the party's revolutionary ideology by conducting an in-depth study of its documents, in a chronological order, and in a systematic and comprehensive way, thereby making it an element of their firm faith. Notice how DPRK tells you not to get faith out of nowhere. Notice how they told you don't just have blind faith. They're telling you study all of the works of the party in chronological order so that you can have faith in the party. Notice that? Something to think about. Something to keep in mind, I would say, perhaps, if you would like. I suggest. In particular, they should intensify their study of the party's current policies, such as the new policy on regional development, until they correctly grasp the gist of those policies, and then identify what they need to do for their implementation, and take practical steps to this end. Hey Dave, welcome in, comrade. Shout out to our comrade Dave. Everybody follow Dave. We're reading a long speech by Kim Jong-un right now, Dave. It's fucking fire. For a party that supposedly has abandoned the communist revolution, it's a pretty communist sounding speech, I gotta say. In arming themselves with the party's ideology and theories, they should put the particular emphasis on effectively studying its lines of building up the party in the new era. Mindful of the party's central committee's intention to usher in a new golden age of building up the party by carrying forward its original ideals and spirit. And just to catch you up, Dave, as we just spent the last chunk of this speech learning what they mean when they say preserving the purity of the original ideals and spirit, they mean the ideals and spirit of serving the people devotedly, without question. You know, that quote by Comrade Kim Il Sung right here that we have as a command. That is the original ideal and spirit that they're talking about here. Hey, Bobby! Welcome, comrade. Great to see you. So yeah, when they talk about the original ideals and spirit, they're literally talking about the spirit of serving the people. Which the part here, I'm gonna cut this out and put it on my YouTube because I think this is such a good speech. Mindful of the party's central committee's intention to usher in a new golden age of building up the party by carrying forward its original ideals and spirit, they should study hard to grasp the essence, originality, viability, and great vitality of the 5-point line of building up the party, and make it an element of their faith, and find ways for applying it in practice. They should also conduct an in-depth study of how our party was founded and has been developed. The new golden age of building up the party should start with studying how our party was founded and has been developed, and learning from the ennobling spirit of our forerunners who made an undying contribution to pioneering and advancing the cause of building up a Juche-oriented party. This is our party's requirement. All of the officials should be so effective in studying the history of our party in various forms and by various methods that they can gain knowledge, which is good first-hand experience, of how the first-generation revolutionaries went against all odds to pioneer the great cause of party building, and carrying it through with credit, and of how hard the second and third generation revolutionaries have worked by carrying forward their predecessors' soul and spirit. They should also be well aware of how dearly they paid for the creation of our party's history and tradition of unity and cohesion unprecedented in the history of building up revolutionary parties, the ruling socialist parties in particular, and how the fighters of preceding generations defended the party's central committee and revolution in times of great trials. In order to become communist revolutionaries, embodying the party's original ideals and spirit, officials should cultivate and train themselves in a revolutionary way through party life. Party life is a school for revolutionary education and a furnace for revolutionary training, where officials can acquire and consolidate their loyalty to the party, the revolution, and the people. Bearing in mind that whoever neglects party life and fails to temper their loyalty to the party will degenerate in spite of themselves and end up being traitors and renegades of the revolution. Officials should enhance their loyalty to the party and revolutionary temperament by taking a voluntary and sincere part in party life. Officials should participate in party life faithfully with a high appreciation of party organization, just as rank and file party members do this. As an obligation stipulated in party rules and a course of their cultivating revolutionary traits. The anti-Japanese revolutionary fighters made efforts to enhance their loyalty to the party by reviewing their party life by themselves, even in the throes of successive battles and marches, learning from the ennobling examples. Officials should respect the party organization and take full responsible attitude and approaches towards its decisions. By taking voluntary and sincere part in party meetings, reviews of party life, and party study sessions, they should establish a regularized climate of obeying party discipline and working and living accordingly, and get into the habit of making conscious efforts to place themselves under the party's organization's guidance and control. They should train themselves ideologically and enhance their party awareness through intensive criticism and ideological campaign. Self-reflection and principled, comradely criticism are the most efficacious of political tonics, which helps our officials work harder with a strong sense of their basic duty as party members and revolutionaries. An ideological campaign is a fundamental method for transforming cadres along revolutionary lines. Officials should review their party life conscientiously, now and then, according to party rules and regulations. And they should be frank with the party organization about their mistakes and be bold in correcting them. When others make a mistake, they should give them principled criticism based on the party's ideology, parties, and discipline, and not confining themselves to doing so. Help them with all sincerity so that they can rectify their mistake. Success or failure in preparing officials to be genuine communist revolutionaries embodying the party's original ideals and spirit depends largely on the role of party organizations. Officials' self-consciousness alone is not enough to enhance their loyalty to the party, the revolution, and the people. If we caveat and take a hands-off approach towards any signs of unorganized, undisciplined, or negative practices that may be revealed among officials, we cannot maintain the party's original ideals and spirit. This will end up failing to provide a sure guarantee for the future of the party and the revolution. Party organizations at all levels, fully aware that transforming cadres along revolutionary lines is a crucial matter that has direct bearing on the destiny of the party and the successful accomplishment of the socialist cause, should strengthen the education and control of officials and establish strict discipline within the party. They should make exacting demands on officials to be fully conversant with the party's regulations and order and strictly observe them in and out of work. They should also exercise tight control and guidance so that the officials draw up detailed action plans, work according to them, and exert themselves in implementing their assignments to promote substantial results. They should be effective in educating and controlling officials, lest they act contrary to the party's principles, and discipline in the course of directing the lower echelon units or in their daily activities. Once they reveal any negative practice, they must never caveat it, instead making an issue of it and helping them rectify it. By taking into account the requirements of developing revolution and the preparedness of officials, they should work out detailed methodology to transform them along revolutionary lines and make persevering efforts to this end, correcting deviations in time, if any, and steadily intensifying this work. Next year is very significant in that our glorious party will greet its 80th founding anniversary, and its Central Committee will wind up its 8th term. From now on, we should make good preparations for celebrating this anniversary of our party as a grand political festival that will proudly review its longest history as a ruling socialist party and a mark in watershed in opening up a new great era of building up a party and the country. In addition, we should successfully carry out the policy oriented tasks put forward by the 8th Party Congress. All the officials should embody the party's original ideals and spirit, and they should remain faithful to their responsibility and duty as the leading personnel of the revolution in an ongoing drive to open up a golden age for strengthening the whole party and achieving national prosperity. Filled with greater conviction and mounting morale, we are advancing more vigorously and confidently to bring earlier the victory of the socialist and communist construction by carrying forward the invaluable and sacred ideals and spirits. The intention in pioneering the cause of Workers' Party of Korea was a truth, and its victory is a truth as well. The great soul of our forerunners is encouraging us. Let us all endeavor to keep up the revolutionary upsurge in the new era by making redoubled efforts to achieve proud results with a strong sense of honor and responsibility as befitting the hardcore of the great party and the leading personnel of the revolution. Comrade Kim Jong-un.